Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the launch of Brighton Festival 2012. Brighton Festival would not be possible without the ongoing support of Brighton and Hove City Council and Arts Council England, and we thank them both for their commitment and their belief in the work that we do. Last year, Brighton Festival took a new direction, inviting Aung San Suu Kyi to be our guest director, and we witnessed the incredible response of this community to her inspiration. With her, we created a festival that reflected the importance of the arts in promoting freedom of speech, human rights, and democracy. Our audience demonstrated its enthusiasm for a festival which invites artists at the forefront of creative endeavor and at the same time does not shy away from exploring the purpose of the arts, to understand ourselves, each other, and the world in a deeper way. I could think of no more fitting artist than Vanessa Redgrave, who has demonstrated throughout her extraordinary career not only astonishing artistic achievements and a rigorous pursuit of her craft, but the sincerity, conviction, and energy to engage the world and with the world around her and to speak on behalf of those who cannot, not least of which through her work as Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF since 1995. It is for this reason we invited her to become this year's guest director. We are honored by her acceptance and celebrate her and so much of what she represents in this year's Brighton Festival programme. Ladies and gentlemen, to speak with Polly Toynbee, chair of Brighton Dome and Festival, and joined by her son, the director Carlo Nero, would you please welcome guest director of Brighton Festival 2012, Vanessa Redgrave.
Well, Andrew and Sally have already said how absolutely thrilled we are to have you here and how exciting it's going to be, this festival. But I wondered in the short time we've got whether you could talk a little bit about the theme that you've chosen. I find it fascinating that you've chosen this poem of Seamus Heaney's from the Republic of Conscience to shape your contribution to the festival. I wondered if you'd talk about it a bit to us.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you all so much. Well, actually, it was the genius idea of Andrew, and I was thrilled that he chose the Seamus Heaney poem because I was asked by Arts for Amnesty in Dublin if I would read it just before, in the presence of Václav Havel, who was nominated and awarded, or whatever you call it, the Amnesty's first Ambassador for Conscience. And of course I'd admired him for years and years, ever since the 60s when I'd made an impromptu recording, both for the Czech people who'd revolted and who were in opposition to the communist regime, and also for the Soviet dissidents who were being imprisoned, about whom Carlo and I made a film. So I love this poem, and I think it's just a fantastic thing for us all to keep in our hearts or our breast pockets or our pockets, handbags, purses, what you will, because there's such a, as well as imagination, there's such a humility in it.
And how does it seem to you to reflect some of the themes that you've chosen? What are the important themes you feel you've chosen to express in this festival?
Well, I think imagination is number one, and of course imagination going into various places like new work, like work that needs to be supported from artists who've begun to make their way. We have images in our imaginations, we have moving images in our imaginations, and I think the work that's been selected, I would be incapable, Polly, of putting it into a category or a label, but I think it's imagination and the stirring of profound responses to various themes in our world, which may be attractive and may inspire us, or indeed may actually make us quite aggravated and quite concerned. I'm absolutely stunned looking through this. Have you all had a chance to? I'm absolutely stunned by this program. And again, you know, I guess all of us are born to be ambassadors of conscience, actually, not just one or two of us.
I was going to ask you about that, about your work as well, as a goodwill ambassador for UNICEF and the rights of the child, which is very much the theme of your film, Carlo, Wake Up World. I wonder if you could tell us a bit about it.
Well, the film was made to honour UNICEF. On the occasion was the 60th anniversary since its founding. It was also made to commemorate the anniversary of the convention, the Universal Convention on the Rights of the Child. So it's really a tribute. It's a tribute to UNICEF and an occasion to not just trace some of the work that it's done, but also to show how its work is really connected to really so many issues that are taking place around the world. It's not just about children, but children really are the foundation. And this film, I think, really expresses that foundation and how, you know, working for children, children's rights, has so many ramifications and implications for everybody else as well. But that's, in essence, what the film is.
I think a lot of people have no idea of how this work was developed. And if people don't know the history of how something extraordinary like children's rights has been worked for, and so that they can go on working for children's rights, which are hardly at the top of anybody's programme at the moment, I would say.
What has it meant you doing, being a goodwill ambassador?
Basically, most of my work has been done going to war zones and visiting the various programs, sometimes under quite extreme circumstances, and trying to, you know, it's not difficult to be hands-on with kids anywhere, but what is extraordinary, and I've tried to get across when I can, and I think the film attempts to get this across, if people should listen to the children more, because these children, under the most appalling circumstances, are so articulate and so full of imagination and so full of inspiration, and they inspire me.
Can I just ask you about a very special performance which you're bringing, A World I Loved. Would you like to just describe that for us?
Well, I'm determined that we'll have enough books, because I've read in the programme that there's going to be a lot of literature, books, plays, music scores, songs available to all the festival supporters and people who come in, the audiences, written by the mother of Mariam Said, the widow of Edwards, Professor Edward Said, and she now, as her husband died, she is co-founder with Daniel Barenboim of the Barenboim Said Foundation. Anyway, Mariam's mother, her story, her memoir, is from the time when she, as a child, just before the First World War in Lebanon, of a very cultured family, and she became a pupil of a girls' school founded by a remarkable lady in 1916, and she dedicated her entire life to that girls' school in Beirut, Lebanon, until she retired in 1974. And through her memoir, told with such warmth and humanity and particularity and care, and longing to help her girls become the women with the minds and the knowledges that they had a right to have, we see the picture of a world that was destroyed by power politics internationally. Many people were destroyed, but a world that had no borders. A world that said, okay, if there's barriers, with our common love of music and poetry, great literature, and she loved Arab culture. So in our program, I will be the narrator, and Mariam Said will be with us to just introduce a few words about her mother. And Mariam and Edward's daughter Najla, who's an actress, will be in it. A wonderful actor called Nadim Sawala will be in it, who's, a lot of people may not remember his name, but you'll have seen him in a lot of films. And his daughter Julie Sawala has been in a lot of TV programs. So there'll be readings, and we have projections and readings of wonderful Arab poetry that inspired her, and some of references to some of the wonderful people like Helen Keller came to lecture for the girls all the way from America. You get a picture of a world which meant everything to the girls in that world, who even today, girls in the world are getting designated for marriages and their education is ended. She cared for them, and everything in her spoke of her longing for peace and feeling that through working for the education of these young girls, she could help create conditions for peace. That's what it's really all about.
Sounds wonderful.
Well, I
Andrew,
didn't give you a very
No, it
good
sounds great.
explanation. It's very kind of you to say
Sounds
it's
terrific.
wonderful.
would you just like to pull out a few of your highlights that you would want to, for everybody quickly thumbing through this magnificent,
It's wonderful.
wonderful
Gosh.
programme? Pull out a few
Well,
gems.
look, it's been a huge privilege to work on this and to really reflect some of what Vanessa has been talking about here, and we talked about earlier, the ambassador for conscience being the principal guiding light. But I'd point out two site-specific performances and new commissions, Dream, Think, Speak, and The Rest is Silence, which is taking place in Shoreham Harbour at the Malthouse Estate, a wonderful and much-awaited meditation on Hamlet. Following Dream, Think, Speak, our associate companies really sell-out performance of Before I Sleep in 2010. Land's End, which is another site-specific performance and installation from Berlin Theatre Group, which confusingly enough is a Belgian company. And their installations are at Circus Street Market, and a wonderful, witty and thoughtful piece as well. And then finally, I think I'd say King Priam, which is the 50th anniversary of the first performance of Sir Michael Tippett's extraordinary opera, which is the closing event of the festival. And King Priam was commissioned for the reconsecration of Coventry Cathedral in 1962. Wow. And it's a wonderful reflection of the Iliad, and the Iliad forms a through line through much of this festival as well, really reflecting on the importance of storytelling and the need to understand each other through the stories that we tell.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.